Is Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei's chemistry more than just acting? Halo semuanya. Kembali lagi di channel ini. There are some celebrity pairings that feel different. Not because they have confirmed anything, not because they have openly declared their feelings, but because every small interaction seems to make fans stop, look again, and ask the same question. Could there be something more? And today, that question leads us back to two names that have captured the attention of drama fans around the world. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei. After their unforgettable chemistry in Pursuit of Jade, fans didn't simply move on when the story ended. Instead, something unexpected happened. The story on screen may have reached its conclusion. But the curiosity surrounding the two actors? It continued. Again, and again, and again. Their expressions. Their interactions. Their shared moments. Even the smallest coincidences noticed by fans have sometimes become the subject of intense discussion. And eventually, the question became much bigger than their drama. Are Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei actually a couple in real life? It sounds like a simple question. But the closer fans look, the more complicated the answer becomes. Because somewhere between admiration, imagination, and reality, a fascinating story has begun to take shape. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. Some online content has actually tried to calculate the possibility that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei could be romantically involved in real life. Yes. A percentage. As if feelings could be measured. As if chemistry could be calculated. As if a few public interactions could somehow produce a number that tells us what is really happening behind closed doors. But before we go any further, there is one important distinction. That percentage is not evidence of a relationship. It is not an official statement. It is not a confirmation from Zhang Linghe. And it is not a confirmation from Tian Xiwei. It is an interpretation, built around public moments, perceived chemistry, and coincidences that fans have noticed. And strangely enough, the conclusion from that kind of analysis was not what many fans might expect. The possibility of a real-life relationship was actually considered relatively low. And that is where this story becomes even more interesting. Because if the possibility is considered low, why does the question refuse to disappear? Why do fans continue to look at every new interaction? Why does their chemistry continue to generate discussion long after Pursuit of Jade? And why does one small moment sometimes become enough to restart an entire conversation? Perhaps the answer begins with the drama itself. When Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei appeared together in Pursuit of Jade, audiences didn't simply see two actors performing their roles. They saw two characters whose relationship carried emotion, tension, tenderness, and vulnerability. Their chemistry became one of the elements that audiences remembered. And when a fictional relationship feels convincing enough, something interesting happens. Viewers begin to emotionally invest in the people behind those characters. They start wondering, are they just good actors? Or is there something about their natural personalities that makes the connection feel so effortless? Of course, being able to create believable chemistry is part of an actor's craft. A powerful scene does not automatically mean that the actors have romantic feelings for each other. A lingering look does not prove a relationship. A smile does not prove a relationship. A coincidence does not prove a relationship. And even a series of coincidences still cannot replace an actual confirmation. Yet fandom doesn't always work through logic alone. It works through emotion. Fans remember moments. They replay scenes. They compare interviews. They notice gestures. They look at the timing of posts. They notice similarities. And sometimes, they see a pattern. Whether that pattern is real or simply the result of two people working closely together is another question entirely. But that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the conversation alive. Then came another layer. Online discussions began attempting to assign a probability to the possibility that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei might be more than co-stars. For some fans, this was exciting. For others, it was a reminder that fandom speculation can sometimes go too far. Because how can anyone truly calculate a private relationship from public information? How can a percentage capture something as complicated as human emotion? It can't. And perhaps that is the most important part of this entire story. The number may look precise, but precision does not necessarily mean truth. A percentage can create the illusion of certainty. But when there is no official confirmation, it remains speculation. Still, the public reaction was fascinating. Some fans looked at the analysis and said, essentially, maybe there really is something there. Others responded with caution. They reminded everyone that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are professional actors. They worked together. They created a successful fictional relationship. And naturally, their chemistry became part of the reason audiences connected with the story. There is nothing unusual about fans loving an on-screen couple. The difficult part begins when the boundary between the characters and the real people becomes blurred. And that boundary is exactly where this story lives. On one side, there is the undeniable chemistry of Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei on screen. That part is real. Audiences saw it. The drama exists. Their performances exist. The emotional impact exists. But on the other side, there is the private reality of Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei. And that part belongs to them. Unless they choose to share it publicly, nobody outside their personal lives can know the complete truth. That is why the most responsible conclusion is also the most intriguing one. There is no confirmed evidence presented here that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are a real-life couple. And yet, fans continue to wonder. Not necessarily because they believe every rumor, but because the chemistry was memorable enough to make the question difficult to let go. Perhaps this is the strange power of a successful screen pairing. A story ends, but the emotions don't always end with it. The characters disappear from the screen, but the actors remain in the public imagination. And suddenly, every new appearance can feel like another chapter. Every smile, another clue. Every coincidence, another question. Every interaction, another reason for fans to say, wait, did you notice that? And maybe that is why the Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei conversation continues to attract attention. It's not necessarily about proving that they are together. It's about the mystery, the possibility, the unanswered question, the space between what we know and what we imagine. And perhaps the most surprising confession in this entire discussion isn't a confession from Zhang Linghe or Tian Xiwei at all. It's the realization that fans themselves have become deeply invested in their story. They want to believe in the chemistry. They want to see the two reunite. They want to know whether the connection they felt on screen could somehow exist beyond the drama. But wanting something to be true doesn't make it true. And that distinction matters. Because celebrity relationships are often surrounded by rumors, theories, edited clips, and interpretations. One moment can be taken out of context. One coincidence can become a theory. One theory can become a rumor. And eventually, the rumor can begin to sound like a fact. That's why this story deserves a little silence, a little patience, and perhaps a little respect for the two people at the center of it. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have already given audiences something meaningful through their work. They gave fans characters to remember, scenes to replay, emotions to feel, and a chemistry that clearly left an impression. Whether there is anything more in real life, only they truly know. And until either of them says otherwise, the honest answer remains: we don't know. Maybe there is nothing beyond their professional relationship. Maybe there is a friendship that fans don't fully see. Or maybe, one day, they will surprise everyone. But today, there is no official confirmation that they are a couple. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why the conversation remains so powerful. Because sometimes, The unanswered question is more captivating than the answer itself. So now, I want to hear from you. After everything we've discussed, do you think the chemistry between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei is simply the result of two talented actors who worked exceptionally well together? Or do you understand why so many fans continue to wonder whether there could be something more? Do you believe the percentage analyses are meaningful? Or do you think relationships are simply impossible to calculate from public moments? And most importantly, if Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei were to reunite in another drama someday, would you want to see that chemistry again? Tell me what you think in the comments below. And remember, we can enjoy the chemistry. We can love the story. We can talk about the moments. But we should always separate what we know from what we hope is true. Because sometimes, the most beautiful part of a story is simply allowing the mystery to remain a mystery. Until the next video. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.